There's been an explosion of tabletop games, and today I'm with Dan Bodle from Dicey Dragon Games. Hi Dan, thanks for joining.
Hi Darius, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
So I've got you along to talk about games. So firstly, what is Dicey Dragon Games?
Okay, so Dicey Dragon Games is an idea that we've been playing around with since 2016. Myself and my cousin Ryan wanted thinking of creating our own games and things like that from games that we'd played and enjoyed. We'd visit a board game cafe in Rochester called Playopolis. Yeah, and I loved every minute of it. He introduced me to all these games and lots of different people, and whilst we enjoyed playing the games, we sort of dreamed about creating our own, and sort of wouldn't it be great to sort of do things sort of with our own worlds and our own characters, and we spoke about that quite a lot. And in 2017 he suddenly passed away from complications resulting from diabetes.
Sorry.
Thanks. Yeah. Cheers. And it struck us all pretty hard. And he was somebody who was very well admired, very, very well liked. And a lot of tributes came in from sort of every area of his life. And Playopolis, it's Rebecca Jordan and the people at Playopolis were tremendously generous in donating to the various charities after his passing.
That's good.
And yeah, it was really good of him. It was a great surprise. But other than that, there was nothing sort of tangible from the gaming community.
Sure.
So myself and two friends, Charlotte Pedo and Sean Hinton, sat down and started collating all of the ideas with a view to creating games and incorporating as much of his ideas and works as possible. And we wanted a medium to be able to share those games and share those ideas, and Dicey Dragon Games was born really from that.
Wow, that's. I mean, obviously a tragic loss, but wonderful that you are going to be continuing almost his legacy, his product, and you're gonna bring it forward and keep it going, which is a wonderful thing. So, how did Dicey Dragon Games get started?
Well, we really sort of, as I sort of said earlier, we really wanted a platform to distribute these ideas, and there were quite a few people who said sort of we can see a marketable opportunity here, to release these ideas, because we were sort of creating things to sort of very high, very professional standards.
Yeah.
And certainly in the early days when we were sort of throwing ideas around with different people and stuff, a lot of people said, so why don't you form a company to in order to showcase these ideas, and it just seemed natural to do that.
Oh, fantastic! So I've got to ask, because I really do like the name. How did you come up with Dicey Dragon Games?
Yeah, absolutely. It took a long while to get there, and we had a few ideas for company names and things like that, and it even went so far as myself sort of producing logos and letterheads and all of that sort of thing, and sort of taking it to the group and sitting down, right, okay, this is what we're going to be called, and then just looking and just going, no, it's not right. And but it was Charlotte Pedo who came up with the name of Dicey Dragon Games, and it's a lovely name because it just works so well. It's you know, in a lot of role-playing games and board games, there's always some dice of some sort that is going to be rolled. Exactly, and there are a lot of dragons in mythical culture and fantasy, and so it just seemed natural to put the two together.
Oh, fantastic! And is that behind you? Is that one of your Dicey Dragons on the table?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is the Dicey Dragon mascot. Yeah, just balancing his dice behind me. Yeah, absolutely.
So, what are the aims of Dicey Dragon Games?
So, apart from obviously the legacy of sort of putting as much of Ryan's ideas and thoughts out there, it's a way for us as well to be able to tell the sort of stories that we like to tell. Okay. It's a way for us as well to bring role-playing games to people who've never experienced role-playing games. There are a lot of fantastic role-playing game systems out there, and but certainly to a beginner, sometimes they can look a bit intimidating. So we wanted to produce a system ourselves that was very, very simple and very very user friendly, and we've managed to get the learning of that system down to about half an hour. So
okay.
So yeah, so hopefully even the most new person to role-playing games will be able to pick it up and learn how to get into role-playing with the greatest of ease.
Brilliant. Okay, so you've mentioned a few things that you're doing, but what games are you working on at the moment?
So we've got apart from the role-playing game system, obviously, which is currently in development, and so we're now at the point where we're actually producing the books for that particular system. Fantastic. The creation of those books are currently underway at the moment.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna hopefully produce two. Certainly, one world will be released for people to be able to sit down and start playing straight away. We're hoping to have a second one out as well, but our main aim really is for people to be able to take our role-playing game system and create whatever they like with it.
That's fantastic. So a few products you've mentioned there. When can we see some of this material being released from Dicey Dragon Games?
So certainly the role-playing game system and One World we're certainly hoping to release by the mid-fall of this year.
Oh, this year. Fantastic.
That's
okay,
right.
So not too long to wait. Great.
Absolutely not.
So I hear that you've been doing some charity work through Dicey Dragon Games. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been in talks with Diabetes UK, which was what my cousin Ryan passed away from. It was undiagnosed diabetes, and what made his passing so tragic, really, apart from his passing in the first place, was the fact that it could have been prevented, and there's not many people who sort of know the symptoms of type 1 diabetes and actually sort of understands it's the fact that the symptoms are actually sometimes quite mild and not even noticeable, and it could be the smallest of things, you know, sort of that basically mean that it's overlooked.
Yeah.
And so any profits that are made from Dicey Dragon Games, a percentage of that will go towards Diabetes UK, to help them to educate the general population on the symptoms and what to do if they think they do have diabetes.
So if it wasn't reason enough to buy your fantastic games, there's more reason now, and that's a fantastic thing for putting some of your proceeds forward to that. So wow, thank you for doing so on behalf of everybody. Anybody doing charity work, it's very good. Yeah, and I'm sure Ryan would be very pleased that you're doing that as well.
Sure.
So where do you see role-playing games in society?
Oh, well, role-playing games, I think, at the moment do play a big part in society. I mean, we're seeing demographics divided quite a bit now than perhaps they have been previously. And when role-playing games was certainly big in the past, in the sort of late 60s and 70s. That was the time as well when the world was, you know, particularly divided politically and socially, and role-playing games again provided a medium for people who perhaps didn't feel that they sort of fit into the most other activities, and I think that's somewhere where role-playing games in particular come into their own, because you don't necessarily have to be yourself when you sit down and play a role-playing game character, and so it's a
form of escapism, isn't it? So you
exactly
escape, and that's one of the main purposes of it.
Yeah, that's it, absolutely. And I do think I do think that it provides a significant safe haven for people as well, and they get the opportunity to meet and interact with people that perhaps they wouldn't normally interact with. I mean, I can say with absolute certainty that I've made friends from tabletop role-playing games, with the most unlikely of people that, you know, perhaps I wouldn't have met in any other circle.
Of course, and it feels like when you sit down and play a game with people, you just have to be like-minded, and you know that if you're there to play that game, you already know that you're like-minded people, and 9 times out of 10 you can just get on without having anything else in common. And I think that's the wonderful thing, and it helps definitely towards mental health, but those with social anxiety, it plays a big part, because you don't have to make small talk. You just, you know, you can just be yourself, and it's a relaxed environment. I must admit that I do feel that is how games are, tabletop games. That does definitely provides that safe haven, like you said. So in a renaissance of board games and more traditional computer role-playing games, where do you see tabletop role-playing games in terms of the role they play?
Oh, wow. Well, tabletop role-playing games, I mean, do provide a much different much different atmosphere than computer games. So I certainly started my love of fantasy with having books read to me as a child by my father, and him putting on the various mannerisms and voices and things like that of all of the absolutely. It just made it so much more entertaining and really brought things to life. And there are a lot of great books and fantastic movies out there, and some great computer games. But those items are sort of really limited by the ideas of the author of the book or the director of the film and the script, and tabletop role-playing games really is run purely by the power of the mind and the the personality of the person playing them, and
it's
they
not
can go.
Then, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
not
absolutely.
One, yeah, sort of tunnel vision. You can expand the mind and go different ways.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely, and it's and of course it's you know, yeah, you, as you say, you can take it in any direction you like, and sort of whereas a computer game is basically limited by its programming.
A to B, and that's it. Yeah, fantastic. So it's been wonderful to talk to you, but I have one more question before we go.
Okay.
What are your favourite things about role-playing games?
Wow. Okay. I think for me, I love the social aspect of it. You know, so I love the fact that I've been so blessed to have met some fantastic people through both board games and role-playing games. You know, within the community of that you know, sort of that particular genre, and the creativity side of it as well, you know, sort of to be able to expand knowledge, which helps personally and professionally. I mean, I'd certainly say that a few of the skills that I've certainly developed through working for Dicey Dragon Games has certainly provided skills for lots of other areas of my life that perhaps I wouldn't normally have learned. And so for me, it's just been a fantastic opportunity.
Brilliant stuff. Well, it's been wonderful to talk to you, Dan. I'm really looking forward to the products that we'll see later this year. And it's just been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. So thank you for joining, and all the best to Dicey Dragon Games in the future.
Thanks ever so much, Darius. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Dan. Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye. Hi, it's Daniel from Dicey Dragon Games, and I'd like to say thank you to Darius and the team all around the board. It was great catching up with them today, and really good that they've taken such an interest in the Dicey Dragon game project. I'd also like to just ask all of you to just take 2 minutes out of your day just to watch this short 2-minute video on the symptoms of diabetes. It may well save your life or a member of your friends or family members. So please keep watching and keep safe. Thank you.
Diabetes has become one of the most common long-term health conditions. In the UK, approximately 1 in 20 people have diabetes. Diabetes UK report that the number of people currently diagnosed with diabetes in the UK is around 3 million. Knowing the symptoms of diabetes can help you get it under control early. Common symptoms of diabetes include being very thirsty, having a dry mouth, needing to urinate often, particularly at night, feeling tired and lethargic, having increased hunger, blurred vision, slow healing of wounds, itching of the groin, nausea. In addition to those symptoms, type 1 diabetes commonly causes rapid weight loss, which, combined with vomiting, could indicate ketoacidosis, which is particularly dangerous. In addition to the general symptoms, people with type 2 diabetes may have darkened areas of skin around the neck and armpits. High blood pressure and cholesterol levels are commonly associated with type 2 diabetes and could indicate an increased susceptibility. In type 1 diabetes, the symptoms come on quickly. The NHS states that symptoms of type 1 diabetes can come on within weeks or days. In type 2 diabetes, the symptoms come on over a longer period of time, often months or years. Diabetes, if undiagnosed or not treated, can cause significant damage to the body. Type 1 diabetes becomes very serious very quickly and can lead to coma or death if undiagnosed. Type 2 diabetes develops slowly and may start to damage the body before the symptoms are spotted. In both cases, it's best to catch the symptoms as early as possible so that diabetes can be treated.